Today I have Aaliyah Harris with me, and I recently have been making it a point to really connect with a lot of people on social media. And Aaliyah was one of those special females that we chatted the other day. And during our conversation, I realized how self-aware she was and how powerful her story is. And she strikes me as a person who is not afraid to say it like it is. And I'm assuming that during this conversation, she's probably gonna give us a big old dose of what maybe we don't want to hear, but what a lot of us need to hear. So welcome to the show, Aaliyah.
I'm so
And
excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. Let's kick it off. So, a few minutes ago, before we started, she had mentioned that she saw a post on social media that said, "Your love, your care, your energy is your greatest currency." So, let's kick it off there. Let's dive into that. What does that mean to you, Aaliyah?
At this point in my life, I don't have the love, the care, or the energy to invest in things that are not bettering me, that are not bringing me closer to my highest self, that are not lighting my soul on fire. Because at that point, I'm burning for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
investing so much and there's no reason to. I'm the greatest investment that I will ever have. And a lot of people don't want to look at things that way because there is that selfish attachment to it. Realistically, being selfish is the greatest thing that you can do. Think of airplanes. The number one thing they say, put your mask on before others, because if you're passing out, who are you going to help? You're a dead body at that point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't want to accept that they are the dead body that is causing more harm than they are good, because they don't
Mm-hmm.
want to take the time to reflect into themselves and say, this is what's wrong in my life. This is what I don't like about my life. And this is how I'm going to change it.
Hmm. I love this topic of selfishness because I I'm the type of person where I grew up as an only child for the first 14 years of my life. I have parents who are very selfish in themselves. And so I almost have the opposite problem where I grew up a little too caring about just myself.
I love that though. I love that though. Because the thing is like, again, I've been following you for years, and to see your growth and how you being so comfortable within the human that you are and knowing your direction, following your page, I would have never guessed that there was any point that you were like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just flying at the seat of my pants.
That's how we
When
all feel every day. Like, let's not lie.
no. I go on TikTok and I'm like, there's no way that this bitch just flew from this coast to that coast and is also going on this yoga Pilates trip, and they all look like they've had like 60 gallons of celery juice and water pumped into their veins. And I'm like, there's no way that this is real. And it's not. And none of it is. And nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody just
Yes.
wants to put on the facade that everything's great.
Hmm. Okay,
No,
so
baby.
selfishness, even this layer of selfishness, like what does that look like to you? What does that mean to you? And is there such a thing as too much? Like where is that fine line of like, okay, I'm gonna protect my peace, I'm gonna care about myself. But is there a line where it's like, okay, too much or not enough? Where do you even draw that line, or what? Give me some examples even of times when you weren't selfish enough and
Yeah.
you realized like, okay, I need to become more selfish. And I'm throwing like 1,000 questions at you. Just just
No,
free
I
ball.
love it. I love it. I love it. I think for myself, growing up, I always had a sense of my mom was a caregiver. My mom has been a caregiver her like to her bones. If she doesn't have someone that needs her, oh my gosh, she's gonna kill me if she hears this. She doesn't have someone that needs her. it is like her entire world is upside down and nothing's
Mhm.
right and everything is a problem and everything like it just it cycles around that. And I think growing up, I kind of had the same sense. I had a very chaotic childhood. I had many siblings, all of which, you know, I grew up with, had a part of, and me being the oldest, it was expected to kind of step in and help when you could. And I did the best that I could, but growing up, getting to like middle school when we all started kind of getting to that age where we broke off, I realized one, my childhood was not normal, and I was alone in that sense. Two, that although my mother was a consistent in my life, there was still a lot of toxicity there. And really, I had just gotten to a point where I just didn't want life anymore. Life was so much for me to handle, and it was because I was thinking of all of these different, it was like I had eight octopus tentacles that were like just stretching me in every single person's direction. And whether they felt that way and they knew that that's what I was going through at the time is irrelevant, because this is my feeling about my childhood and my situation. And so do I think that there is this too much selfishness? Absolutely. If you can sit there and you can say, I don't care about any of these people, they were horrible to me, I don't want anything to do, you know, yeah, that's way too much.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't feel that way. My family has gone through many rough spots. My biological father telling me to go kill myself. I still
Mhm.
talk to the man to this day. He will tell you that he said that, and it's that's just how it is. And eventually you
Mhm.
get to a point where you're like, you know what, I know myself enough. I know what I need from people. And I have enough boundary to set with you that you can be in my life, but I don't need to feed into you at all.
I
You
think
can,
your life story is so intriguing to me. Like, I want to hear more about what growing up was like. Because you had 10, so you're one of 10 siblings,
I
right? You
am one
said?
of 10 on my biological dad's side, and I'm one of two on my mom's. And there's 10 and a half years between us. So I know what you're talking about when you're like, there's 14 years between me and I know. It's weird. Like, she's going to high school right now, planning on getting her driver's license. And I'm over here like, okay, career, marriage, kids, house. Like,
Yeah.
all right, that's a little odd. Like,
Oh my gosh, I love it. So yeah, talk to like give us a little bit more of a background of what growing up was like, having 10 freaking, and you said you're the oldest,
I'm the second oldest,
second
yes.
oldest. So like
So,
that's crazy, crazy dynamic. Tell us about it.
so the funny thing is they all, well, not every single one, but we do have different moms. And so all of us kids grew up with our moms at the time, but you know, my dad's a charismatic guy. I like to say that was one of the best characteristics that I got from him. And that makes him a very attractive man. I can see why. However, all of these women were seeing him at the same time. And and so like I got to a point where I would call them the sister wives.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything like disrespectful, because like they were my stepmoms. I called them my stepmoms. They took care of me and they fed me like they did their own children. And it was just an odd dynamic though, you know?
Did they
I
all
mean,
live separately?
yes. So
Okay.
like ironically enough, there was me and then the next three in line. We all lived in the same complex.
Okay.
So it was
That's
like a
fun.
fourplex, and we actually shared a patio. So it was my mom, my stepdad, and my sister. And then if you walked like literally out the sliding door to the next door sliding door, there was my three other siblings, their mom, and then my biological father. And they were all friends. Like they all hung out together, and it was just normal. And I remember like friends coming over to my house and being like, they
What's
were
going
so confused. Like the silence was just deafening. And then we would all like but it wasn't abnormal to me. You
Yeah.
know, it was normal. I even had cousins that lived there too. Like my uncles
Mhm.
were there. It was literally just a family that lived in this one building. So like for me, my childhood was really fun. Like I had
Yeah.
my siblings and friends my age to grow up with. So it wasn't that it was all bad, but in the background of things, and I would say I probably started realizing this stuff around like middle school, which is like also when you're going through puberty, which if you're a girl going through puberty, you know that is absolute hell in and of itself. But
Mhm.
um my dad sold drugs for many years. He was a criminal, and we never really knew like where he was or what he was doing. And again, because he was a charismatic guy and because he cared about us, he wasn't always so good at showing it, but he did care about us deeply. It was always confusing to all of us because we always thought that he was hanging out with another sibling or he was at this person's house. Like, why can't he tuck me in at night?
Mhm.
That and I remember him telling me like, yeah, I'm on my way over there right now, and I would sit up for hours and hours and hours on end, and my mom so many times would break down and just like she didn't know how to emotionally cater to me that way.
Mhm.
She had both of her parents primarily growing up. It wasn't until she was a little older that they had divorced and everything, but she understood what was going on. I had never lived in a home with both of my parents.
Yep.
And, I remember parents have to work. So, there were times in the summer where I'm babysitting 3, 4 kids that are all, 2 to 3 years younger than me. And I'm not knowing necessarily what to do or how to go about it, but I've seen the way that my dad disciplines the kids. And unfortunately, that's been something that, my brother and I have had to conversate about later on in life. He's like, dad treated me like garbage. He hated me. And truly, genuinely, there was a time where my mother feared for his life and he had to come and live
Mhm.
with us.
Wow.
And to this day, he's like, Aaliyah, when I needed a big sister, you weren't my big sister. You were still my dad. You were acting like dad. And that is something that to this day absolutely just shatters me because him and I were probably like the closest out of anybody. And even now, no matter what he's going through, I love my brother. I will always be there for my brother and do anything that I can. But then tying back to that selfishness, I have to have a cutoff point. There are people in my family that struggle with addiction. And, unfortunately, I've dealt with my own forms of addiction. And I just know that that's not something that I can be around. And so if it's going to be detrimental to my success and how much I've built myself, that's not something I'm willing to sacrifice at this point in my life. I've survived so many hard things of, going back to my childhood, getting into middle school and realizing everything that was wrong in my childhood and wasn't normal, having to navigate through that while now my dad's actually in prison and he's looking at serious time. And all of my siblings have now moved away because their parents met new people and or their moms met new people and they moved on. And there I was with my stepdad and a new sibling, but I'm 10 and a half and I've known this previous life for the last 10 and a half years. And now I'm having to switch into this different family dynamic while also going through puberty and starting in middle school and being 5'10" and one of the only mixed girls in school with curly hair and blah, blah, blah. I was turning into my mother. I'm cycling. Like everything is wrong. And it truly it got to be way too much, just too much, to the point where, and I know that this is why my mom and I's relationship is as difficult as it is now, because I was in and out of mental hospitals.
Mhm.
I genuinely did not see a point in continuing in life. I had felt like I had already gone through so much. Like at this point, what the hell else am I going to go through
Yeah.
that is going to make me a better person? Or like, is there even a better?
Mhm.
because I'm also surrounded by people like I obviously with 10 siblings, you are not in a mansion. This is a low income family.
Right.
So I don't know what better looks like. I don't know what better is. I've never seen adults that are happy, content, and driving with this like need for success. I was surrounded by people that were so comfortable
Mm.
in their misery and like just situationally based. It was just what it was.
Mm-hmm.
There was no changing it.
Your story resonates, like so many pieces of it, I resonate so deeply with because you talk about, I call it almost a generational curse or generational trauma that gets passed
Yeah.
down. And so many people never escape it. They
No,
stay in it. And it doesn't even have to be to the point of drug addiction or alcohol
no.
addiction. It can simply be, like you said, this negative, like diseased mindset. It can be
Yeah,
people who just refuse to develop themselves and push
exactly.
themselves. And again, if you're constantly surrounded by that, you grow up with it and you're never able to escape it.
Mm-mm.
You get put in this like crossroads situation later in life where it's like, okay, I can either choose to continue living my life and
Mhm.
continue surrounding myself with these people, or I can break myself off. And that doesn't always have to mean like, okay, I'm like completely cutting everybody off in my life
No,
and starting over.
no.
It can be some people that is what you need, especially if
Yeah.
if it is drug addiction, alcohol addiction. Like a lot of times if you have that trait, you can't be surrounded by it. So I understand
And
it. And
that's okay.
yeah, yeah.
If nobody, this is one thing I want to point out.
Hmm.
If nobody tells you that it's okay to cut people off, whether they are family, whether they are friends, whether it's your neighbor, your cousin, your sister, if they are not seeing your worth and contributing to your success, and they're instead eating away at it, why are you going to allow that? Why? Why do you
Hmm.
need that? You don't need that.
So if somebody's listening and they're like, I'm intrigued, like, what are some of the signs of a person who is not pushing you forward and actually pulling you backwards? Like, are there any, like, certain things that are
Mm,
said, that are done? Like, what are some red flags, some classic red flags?
so this is actually very interesting because I just left a career in car sales.
Hmm.
So, everyone in my family at the jump was very excited for this opportunity that I was going to get. And I think it's because they know my personality, they know me personally. I am a certified yapper. I am so good at it. And I'm really good with people. I'm comfortable with people. I blame my father. So, I don't have a roster though. I don't have a roster. I'm like that man. Um, But working in car sales, I think there's people that want you to win, and then there's people that are like, mm,
Hmm.
she's old, you know?
Hmm.
And I think even even with like my parents and stuff too, my mom ended up buying a car for me. And she gave me a specific price point she wanted to be under. I got her under that price point. And to be fair, she got a 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee with 17,000 miles on it and a brand new transmission. Anybody that's a car person knows that the transmission had to be switched out because the woman literally never drove the car. There's 17,000 miles on it.
Hmm.
So that car is literally going to be running. That woman will probably die in that car. Okay. Like that will be the car she has in her driveway when she's in the nursing home. And so the thing is I'm building value in it and it's making sense to her and it's making sense. And then there comes the payment, the time to actually make the payment. And then all of the sudden I'm really good at selling. really good at selling people. And I am, you know, like and to me, in my mind, I just sat there and I really internalized that for a little bit, because again, I come from a low income family.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, then it just kind of seemed like I always had an out. Everything had an out. It wasn't that I have confidence in Aaliyah, because Aaliyah knows what she's doing and I know that she works hard. So whatever she does, she's going to be successful. So
Mm-hmm.
they're being assholes. Fuck them. Do what you need to do, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what it was. It was, well, if you don't think that this is going to work out for you, like, go find something else.
Mm-hmm.
If this isn't what you want to do. And I got that doubt in my head. I sat there and I went to my managers and I'm like, I don't think I'm meant for car sales. Simply based off of what my mother said.
Mm-hmm.
Simply based off of what one person said. Meanwhile, I could go back and I could give you 10, 15 customers that told you that I gave them the absolute best experience that they had ever had in a dealership.
Mm-hmm.
But because that one person that I held so high on a pedestal gave me that bit of doubt, I internalized it, I listened to it, and it became who I was. And that's how it's always been. The one, it seems like dance is probably the only thing sport wise that my mom was like, just try to stick it out. Like, it's tough. But the thing is, she was also in dance. And in fact, my coach was her coach. And so she knew going into it the kind of coach that I was going to have. She knew that she wasn't going to be easy on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made sense for her to be like, you're being pushed, because I've been in that situation and I know how that person's pushing you.
Oh,
However, she
goosebumps.
was unsuccessful. She was unsuccessful in sales. She did
Yeah.
insurance sales for a little bit, and she continually brought that up to me. I was unsuccessful in this. I wasn't good at this. So, you know, that bit of doubt. And I love her to the end of my days. I will always say that. There is not a single person on God's green earth that I put above my mother.
Mm-hmm.
But while loving my mother, I can put up a boundary of, we can talk about anything. We can talk about her work. We can talk about my sister. We can talk about what I'm making for dinner, what she's making for dinner. But I already know that if I get down to the nitty gritty of how I'm feeling and what I'm going through and things like that, she doesn't have capacity for it. And that's typically where arguments come from.
Mm-hmm. See, this is so interesting. So many people don't think like this. They don't
No.
dissect
And
anything. So I love this conversation.
but and also too, it's because I've spent a lot of time in therapy too.
Yeah.
Like, my thing was is I knew that I had an anxious avoidant attachment style. I know these things about myself, but why and how does that apply to my life? Because you can't just simply, I think that kind of ties into like the whole self-awareness too,
Mm-hmm.
of recognizing the reactions that you have to things and the feelings and the emotions that are stirred up within you at certain points in time, and sitting and asking yourself why, not just going for the first reaction, because it's so easy for me to jump down my mom's throat and be like, girl, I got this, and this going on. I'm trying to do this. And if we're really talking about it, you decided to have sex with a man in the 90s, and I came out the way that I came out, and now I have to pay bills. I have to fit insurance. Are you kidding me? Like, please be for real. Two random people had sex in the 90s, and now I have to figure out existence. They couldn't use protection, and that's my problem. Like, come on now. And nobody thinks about it that way until you get to like adulthood, and that's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like, you're supposed to be setting the next generation up for success, but if you don't know what
Oh,
success looks like, you don't know how to go about that, you're not going to be able to do it. And luckily I had two parents. My mom has always been a very, very, very hard worker. She's just stuck in her circumstance. My biological dad, Swear to God, the guy can talk himself out of anything. I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm pretty, like, police officers will see him now and they're like, Mr. Powell, you keeping yourself, and he's like, yep, no worries. You guys are going to be seeing me soon. Like, they can literally joke around about it now. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think a combination of my mom's drive and my dad's charisma and all of that stuff combined created me, and that created I basically have the opportunity to choose which attributes I want to take and run with.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're making it a choice. It's
Because it
not,
is. It
yeah,
is.
yes, because so
I
many
love that
people
people like
think,
to pretend like it's not.
yes, and for so many years I thought that it wasn't. I thought it was like, well, I'm fucking stuck this way. Like this
Exactly.
is the way that my shitty life, the shitty cards that I was dealt, and it just is what it is. But you truly have the choice
Yeah,
to choose how do I want to show up in this world and how do I want my days to feel? Do I want them to feel
exactly.
draining and do I want to point out all of the negatives? And I'm not saying that this is easy. This is something that I'm sure you and I are still actively working on. I know I am every single day because that shit, a lot of it is it is ingrained. It's ingrained in your
Yeah.
subconscious. And so you have to do the work and you have to practice just like anything. It's like learning a new skill. It's like learning how to play soccer. You're gonna
Yeah.
fucking suck at it. You're gonna
Yeah.
kick the ball out of bounds, whatever. And it's like this, it's the same thing with becoming self-aware and learning about yourself
Yeah.
is that it's gonna be messy and it's not gonna necessarily feel good and you're gonna fuck up and you're gonna have days
Yeah.
where you're pulled back into it, you're triggered, you're freaking living like you used to. But
Beautiful.
but it's like you
Beautiful.
have the choice to be able to reflect on that, right? That's what I'm
Hmm.
constantly doing and constantly even teaching clients to do, whether it's with their food, whether it's even just with their emotions. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you felt that, you reached for the Oreos, you didn't like how that felt, so reflect on it and figure out
Yeah.
what the fuck is going on and why you feel the need to reach for the Oreos. Or in my situation, it's like, okay, I lived my day pretty negatively yesterday. What needs to happen and where did what like let's pinpoint. Was it
Yeah.
something that somebody said to me? Was it
Yeah.
some insecurity that came up? And like this level of self-awareness and like self-mastery, I truly believe is the unlock for life. Do you agree?
It's definitely not for the weak. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, because there was this guy that I started seeing like beginning of this year. It was a very, very short bit, right? And I am a relationship girly. I don't do the whole talking stage. Like, you're going to be my husband, and that's fine. Like, whatever you need to figure out on your end to get there, do that. Like, I'm here and I'm ready, and it's fine. And that's pretty much how the relationship was. But at first, we were on the same page. And then all of a sudden, we were not on the same page. And he's pulling back, and I will still to this day. And this is when being self-aware just pisses me off because I'm like, now you're being annoying and you're doing it on purpose and you need to stop. I will still reach out to him, and Hurricane Milton that just hit. I literally texted him and I'm like, I hope the family's okay. I hope everyone's doing good down there. I just wanted you to know that I was thinking about you and make like, ooh, I hit that unsend button so damn fast. So fast. I sat there and I was like, Aaliyah, the reason you're doing that is because you want him to acknowledge that you're thinking about him. Get the fuck over it. Stop being a little weirdo. Knock it off. It's fine. He's a good guy. He's a good person. Not for you, though.
No.
I unsent the message because at the end of the day, did I pray that his family was okay? 100%. Does he need to know that? No. No.
Oh,
Like, Aaliyah, be accountable for yourself. That's how that happens. And then I sat there and I was like, well, why did I even want to reach out? Why did I even want to do that? Because I think there's so many girls nowadays that are like, block,
mm-hmm.
don't care. I
Mm-hmm.
will never be one of those girls. I will never be one of those girls. Because to me, it's not cool to not care.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Like this is another good topic is like tuning into you and like who you are down to your core. See, I'm the type
Yeah.
where I'm a little extra selfish where it's like I've never really been in a situation with boys where it comes
It's the
to that.
daddy issues. It's okay.
Well, I got daddy issues too, but they're completely different. See, I'm a straight up avoidant personality type. So it's like
Okay.
I am the blocker.
I was gonna say, to be fair, my mom was the emotional one. Well, actually, my dad was emotional and avoidant, and my mom was like not emotional, but like there. So it's like
Yeah, see, I'm very similar to
complicated.
that. But it's like tuning into you and like the way that you function and what feels good to you. Because again, like the way that you handle a situation and the way that I handle a situation, it's gonna be different. And it's like I think
Absolutely.
so many females are trying to be something that they're not, or like they set these expectations for themselves. Like
Yeah.
for example, me, I know that I'm avoidant. Like I can work on it and I can work to become more secure, but it's like I know that my superpower is not sitting and like DMing back and forth or like sitting and having
Right.
these day long text message conversations. I'm like, bitch,
Exactly.
call me or leave me alone. And so instead of feeling guilty, like I used to, especially when it came to friendships, I used to feel so bad because I would look at some of my friends who were like in contact every single day, like Snapchatting back and forth every single day. And I'm like, well, why can't I maintain like friendships like that? Like, why can I not be the person who is like talking to people all day, every day? But you come to a point where it's like, it's just not the way my brain is wired. Like it's not even
No.
enjoyable to me to like have that pressure of trying to maintain that. And so
No.
it's
And
about
that's
getting
exactly it. That's
yes,
exactly it. It's people trying to maintain an image of that.
yes.
Like there's I don't know where societies and friendship expectations came from, but like if we really want to think about it, back in like the 1920s, if you wanted to write a friend, you were waiting a fucking week for a response.
Yes.
Nobody owes you anything. Like you are not owed an immediate response. If you are looking for an immediate response from someone, you need to look into yourself and think of why you're fiending for that attention from that
Mhm.
person, from that thing, from whatever it may be.
Mhm.
There's so, and like you said, it's learning who you are as a person. I know I'm super bubbly. I tend to be aggressive towards people. Like with my love, with my care, if you irritate me, like I will tell you, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to be like, I love you, but irritating. Why? Like I'm never going to sugarcoat it. But that's because I don't have the time to sit here and try and pretend and decipher what I'm saying to make it make sense to you. I'm saying how I feel, what I'm thinking. And if you have a rebuttal, if you're like, I've had friends where they're like, hey, yo, like that was mean. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay, so that's not how that was meant. Give me like 5 seconds. I just need to like actually think it down of like, what is a better way that I could have said that? Or I ask, what is a better way that I could have presented that information?
I think we would be so much better off as a society if we learned these skills of like
If we learned that it
self-reflection.
wasn't, it's not, you ask the question and be vulnerable. I don't know when vulnerability and keeping everything locked up just became normal. But like, have you ever met somebody that's like literally not in touch with themselves?
Hmm.
It's like talking to a brick wall. It's like
Hmm.
talking to a brick wall. It's super awkward. It's very uncomfortable.
Is that the uncomfortable feeling that you get when is that what it is? Is like we're so self-aware and then you're talking to someone who isn't and then you start like I get that sometimes
I
where like
get that
my
anxiety in
mind
my
starts
head.
racing and I start thinking like as I'm talking and I'm like what the fuck is going on?
I
Why do I feel so uncomfortable?
problem?
I've never really known what that is with some people. I'm like, why do I feel so weird in this conversation right now? And like why am I starting to overthink? I'm not really an overthinker, but there's some people where it's like,
Yeah. I see. I also think to myself too, like, and I'm kind of, I mean, I'm just getting back into my faith with Christianity and everything like that. But for a very long time, I'm like a woo-woo spiritual kind of girl, right? Like, and I'm a firm believer in it. I wear 111 every single day. I'm a firm believer that my best friend Hannah, my grandma, my friend Devin, and various other people that have had an impact on my life that have passed, they're guiding me on this life path.
mm-hmm,
And I also know that I've been born with a very intuitive spirit. And so I can tell when I get around people and like they're not very open-minded, or they're, and it's interesting to me because I even noticed this happening like at the dealership, right?
mm-hmm,
When I walked in the first day, oh my goodness, I had a personality the size of the building. I was so excited to be there. I didn't know a damn thing about cars, okay? But like, I was so excited that I had this opportunity to prove myself. I was like, what you put into it, you get back. And then things started to change. You get into the culture of the company a little more. You start to realize that there's more politics to things than just talking to customers. And I had so many managers coming up to me like, we miss the old Aaliyah. We miss that energy and that intuition. And that's another, I would say, telltale sign. You got to cut it out. If you yourself can tell that your energy is off, it's not, you don't feel like yourself, you don't have any sense of direction, your gut isn't speaking to you anymore, leave. It's toxic. You got to go.
mm-hmm.
Whether that's being with a person in a city, a relationship, whatever, if your energy is being diminished by it, it's not worth it. Because things that are for you and meant for you are going to build that. They're going to build that, they're going to amplify it, and they are going to shoot it across to wherever it needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that talking to certain people that don't have that level of awareness, that aren't comfortable within themselves and open to what the world has to offer, there's no way for me to connect with that. Because like, what am I even connecting with? If you don't know yourself, you don't know who you are, I what is there to connect with?
Yeah, this is so interesting because there's when we talk about even circling back to cutting people out or cutting situations out, there's there's like the straight up this doesn't feel good, the straight up like you're a mean person. But I think what's even more dangerous are kind of like in your mom's situation, it's the people who seem like they support you, and they do support you, but it's almost supporting the good and the bad. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, you want to start a fitness journey? I'm supporting you. Oh, you want a day off, a week off? Oh, you want to eat the McDonald's with me? Okay, sounds good. Like we all
Right.
support you in that.
The
And so
enabling.
yes. So it's not just surrounding yourself with like go girl people. It's not just the people who quote unquote support you. It's the people who truly push you and push you
Yeah.
out to get outside of your comfort zone and to follow through on the things that you say you're gonna do and to literally like drive your ass to the gym if that's what you
Yeah.
need. It's like that those type of people are what we should be seeking. And I think the go girls are some of the most dangerous because it's so sneaky. It is. It's
Mhm.
enabling rather than
And that's
yeah.
the thing too. It just like, it kind of makes me laugh because I mean, I had so many really, really tight friendships in my hometown. And there were so many times I was told that I was getting too involved with people and their situations and things like that. And I'm like, you guys do understand that this situation was brought to me. And I'm going to handle it in a way that I deem appropriate. If I have a girlfriend that's text messaging me and telling me that she feels like ending her life, and I know for a fact that her boyfriend is the one person that she can talk to and is going to be able to get through to her, I'm going to reach out to him because I'm not going to lose a friend in the process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is hard because there is this like overstepping your boundaries. Like I've
I
gotten that
will
as well.
overstep. I will overstep. I will tell you what you don't want to hear,
Yeah.
but it's what you need to hear
Yeah.
because I love you and I care about you more than you being my friend.
Yeah.
I care more than just our friendship. I care about you as a human.
Yeah, yeah. And on the other side of that coin too, obviously that situation is very extreme, but
Oh
maybe in I think of some of my situations where I'm calling people in my life to rise. I'm calling them to become more self-aware. I'm telling them what they need to hear. Again, not
yeah.
what they want to hear. So in hopes that they absorb it and take some of it and take some of the fucking advice. But then again, there's this other side of that coin where it's like you can't drag yourself down
No,
trying to lift other people up. There comes a point where
exactly.
it's like you can put in, a year straight of effort, and after that year, or whatever that freaking timeline is for you, the 5 times, 10 times, whatever it is, of you trying over and over and over to change this person or like lead the horse to water. And
Yeah.
at some point you have to realize too, like I think of again, yeah, there's certain family members. Maybe it's I have family members who struggle with alcoholism, things like that. And again, it's like you can lead the fucking horse to water, but they need to want to change. You
Oh yeah.
can't want it for them. Like they need to want it,
As a
for
person that's like coming from addiction too,
yeah. Yeah.
I often I think about that too. Because I was in a very, very, very vicious cycle where, and again, I had to reflect and realize this was how the reward system in my brain was set up. No matter what amount of alcohol I had, you knew Aaliyah was coming out and she had cocaine. And she was doing a lot of it to the point where I would be at people's houses and have to put my hands in my sleeves because my heart was pumping so fast that my hands were turning blue, that my toes were blue because it was like a fucking horse just racing.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember specifically going to parties and telling people not to bring it around me. I'm asking my friends not to bring it around me, not to ask me if I want any. And what are they doing? It's a joke to them. Because it's fucking Aaliyah. Aaliyah loves to party. She's what? Girl, what the fuck are you talking about? We don't like quitters around here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was enabled. And then the
Mm-hmm.
person that I was dating was selling it. And it was convenient. And so if everyone around me is doing it and it's perfectly fucking normal, I don't have any reason to change.
Yep.
Except Aaliyah realized, one, I'm literally living in the pattern of my biological father. I'm not even kidding. Tequila and cocaine. Like, it's like salt and pepper. They were like our things. Like, he even told me stories. He's like, Aaliyah, I would literally have half a bottle of tequila, walk into the bar with my eyes like fucking headlamps, just looking for a fight, just ready to do some shit. Because, his childhood was just fucked up. And
Mm-hmm.
so then he's doing all this fucked up shit and he's got all these people telling him that he's doing wrong and he's over here like, I've never even been taught right. So what are you guys even telling me for? I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to do what I need to do. And I'm going to escape that. Except you're never really escaping it until the next fucking day when you're
Mm-hmm.
sobered up. But if you never sober up, you never have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've always just had this gut feeling that I was some sort of a trailblazer. I don't know why, but like since a very young age, like my grandma bought me like anatomy books when I was like 7. Like they were literally convinced I was going to be like a doctor or something. Okay. Like we had so much faith in Aaliyah's abilities. It was wild. And like looking at the span of my life, like there were so many points in time where I just doubted myself. And so once I really, when I found out that I was pregnant, was when I took a step back and I actually, that was my one moment. Then I was like, you have the opportunity to rewrite the story now if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, literally the weekend before, I had probably 1.5 grams of cocaine. I was pounding tequila pineapples at the bar. I like, and that had been every weekend for the
Mm-hmm.
3 months prior to me finding
Mm-hmm.
out. And I had to sit there and think to myself, like, is this really the situation that I want to bring my child into? Because his father was like, I support you with whatever you want to do. I don't think we're ready right now, but I'll do what I can. And I just, I went back and forth on it for so long. I had probably 2 weeks before I actually went to my appointment. And to anybody that disagrees with abortion, go fucking adopt a kid, go foster children, go do all of that then, if that's how you truly feel about it. Because if I would have had this child, it probably would have been born addicted to fucking something,
Mm-hmm.
or I wouldn't have been at a capacity where I could have taken care of it.
Again, that's a layer of self-awareness and an
Exactly.
awareness of the situation.
And so it was at that point that I was like, you know what? Do I want to do this? No. I want my family. I want my child. However, not in this situation.
Yeah.
And so I never took my abortion as something light. That was never something that I ever in a million years thought that I would go through. And even at the appointment, they ask if you want to see the child on the ultrasound. Of course. Absolutely. 100%. Because right now, that thing is changing my fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
The little bean that's on that screen literally threw a wrench in everything that I had, everything that I knew as soon as I saw it.
I think that's so interesting because I think a lot of people in that situation would feel too much shame, guilt, just sadness, negative emotions, and almost want to just bypass that. Like, if I don't see it, it's not happening. So, like, that speaks so much about you, where you're like, I'm gonna face this head fucking on. Yes,
Oh,
show
yeah.
me it and show me what I'm doing. Like,
Yeah.
that is huge. And that takes
Yeah.
balls.
Because I mean, realistically, too, at the end of the day, I knew that the way that I was living my life was wrong. I knew that it wasn't normal to be doing that much cocaine. I knew that it wasn't normal to be smoking that much weed. I knew that it wasn't normal to be drinking that fucking much. I knew that none of that was normal. And I was choosing to continue the fucking cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I was choosing that. I was literally like, well, I'm young and I can do what I want to do. Well, then it became a lifestyle for 2, 3 years. And now look at where you're at, Aaliyah. You are literally at like the pivotal moment of if you wanted this, if you had your shit together, you could have it. You could have it. And it was at that moment that I told myself like I'm getting sober. Like I'm done. I'm done. And in fact, my what, 23rd birthday, I had a Euphoria themed birthday party because everyone tells me that I look like a Zendaya. So I literally dressed like Rue. I did a shit ton of cocaine. I got super fucked up. And then by February, broke up with my ex, started a new job, literally like tailspin everything. I was sober. And even now, it's been probably a year since I've done cocaine. I don't have a want to do it at all. I now live in my own apartment. I drive a brand new car. I am in school for marketing. I just got a job at a marketing agency. I work at Buckle part-time. I'm building amazing relationships like this one with you and other people around me. And none of that would have happened if I wouldn't have taken that moment seriously. And
I'm
so
full
every
on
every
chills.
every Mother's Day, I still acknowledge it because it happened. It
Yeah.
happened. Like I think that's probably one of the weirdest things about me, but I think that more people need to pay more attention to it. Not every horrible thing that happens in life is negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always bad. My biological dad will tell you right now. He tells me every single time we talk on the phone, the best thing that could have happened to him was getting caught and going to prison. If he wouldn't have got caught and he wouldn't have gone to prison, he would still be doing the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we realistically want to take it to like a way extreme, which again, this is Aaliyah getting aggressive, Dahmer. Why did Dahmer continue doing what Dahmer was doing? Because Dahmer didn't get caught.
Yeah. And he
Okay,
said
so
that was what intrigued me the most is he's like, I'm fully aware that this is wrong and something's messed up in me. Like and that was the craziest thing. He's like, I
but
want to know
that's
what's wrong with me. Like, please.
yeah. Yeah, and that's like my main point to people is like everybody wants to be like, well, I don't know. Every time I drink I cry, so I just don't drink. Or every time I do this I just you've never thought to ask yourself why? Like you've never thought to yourself like I wonder if there's a reason that I do that. Or when my boyfriend's grandma comes over and she says something about the house not being clean.
Yup. Yup.
Why does that bother me? Why is that not
Yes.
okay? When my mother-in-law tells me something about my child, why does that bother me? Why is that not okay
Mm-hmm.
with me? Because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it is not other people's responsibility for our reactions to things and how
Mm-hmm.
we process. Okay. That
Mm-hmm.
is entirely up to us. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think more people need to be more vulnerable within themselves
Mm-hmm.
because right now I can sit here and I can talk about all of these things in my life with a smile on my face because I know it's who the fuck I am.
Yup.
Because yeah, I went through that shit and now look at me. I am so loving. I am so caring. I am so kind. I'm fucking hilarious. God bless the trauma. Like all of these wonderful characteristics about myself. And you're telling me that I'm supposed to look back on it and be mad and be
Mm-hmm.
upset? I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for that. So
Oh,
no, I'm gonna wear that as a fucking badge of honor. I am one tough bitch. I even have a tattoo. It literally says Virago, and depending on the definition that you look up, it literally means a bad-tempered bitch or a female warrior. Take your pick, babe. I don't know. However you view me, but that's okay because that's just your opinion.
yeah. Yup.
And at the end of the day, I look back at my life and I'm like, you kind of a bad bitch, girl. Like you're kind of a bad bitch. Cause now look at you. Like, what the fuck? You be working out. You don't even smoke schmeat anymore. Like, I literally just go to bed. I just go to bed. And that is not something that anybody would have ever guessed would have happened. Ever.
Because you used to
So
be reliant on it, right? To
yeah, to sleep, to do like literally just to sleep. I mean, my childhood was so chaotic and wild that and it was usually nighttime that like things were happening. There was cops pounding on the door to come arrest my dad or you know people coming over to pick up drugs or whatever the case was. I always had an awareness at night and I never could get my body to shut off.
mm-hmm.
And so smoking weed became something that would allow me to fall asleep. But then it became something that allowed me to be more mellow and not as anxious. And then it became something that I could just do when I got home from work because, oh my gosh, what a long work day.
Okay, I
You know,
love this topic. This was something that I wanted to bring up is it sounds like you've done a lot of healing and I'm sure we'll continue with the healing. But How do you feel about people using healing as an excuse to continue the self-sabotaging behavior? So kind of like the weed
Ah,
where it's like I'm healing, like I need this. How do you go about healing in a way where it's beneficial to you, but you're also holding boundaries for yourself and setting standards for yourself? Because I find that that's a dangerous territory to tread in. I fell into it for a little phase
yeah.
too, where I'm like, oh, I'm healing. I'm just gonna stop all the structure and just like be a gypsy. And I was like one of the most miserable points in my life. And
Oh my
I was
God.
simply using healing as an
Yeah.
excuse to not get the shit done that I know I needed to get done.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like your thoughts on that and your experience with it.
I will say too, like everyone's journey is different, right? And so for me, I've always been very, I don't want to say very good because some people have seen when like I'm not masking and I'm actually just fucking pissed. But
Hmm.
for the
Hmm.
most part, having 10 siblings, you didn't really have much room for a reaction. Like it was literally fall in line or like wooden spoon to the hand. Like it was not, there wasn't room for error.
Hmm.
Okay. And so for me, I internalized so much of it in my body. I was so sick. I would be like, I know for myself that as soon as I'm treading backwards, if I'm like, well, I just need a rest day, I will take that day. And that's usually a day that I'll do a lot of reflecting on, where I sit and I'll get real with myself. People don't want to get real with themselves, and I really do feel like that's a lot of the issue. I will sit there and like I will criticize myself, not in a negative way, but say it's more like constructive criticism, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm.
If I'm like, okay, what all do we have going on that could be causing us stress, problems, issues, whatever, to where we feel like we need to just take a break from everything?
Hmm.
I'll write that down. And then usually I'm like looking at the list and I'm like, Aaliyah, it's literally like 4 fucking phone calls. Are you kidding me? And then I do what you're doing right now and I kind of laugh about it because I'm like, there's no way. There's no way that in my little pea brain I'm making these tasks out to be so much more than they are.
Hmm.
And eventually I'll get to a point where I'm like, okay, you've rested for the day. What can we do to like be productive in some way? Like I will have 3 to 4 things that I have to get done every single day, like making my bed, doing my dishes, and like keeping my apartment clean.
Hmm.
Because I know if that's done, then like I do have the time to go and do other things for myself should I choose to do that.
Hmm.
I think it's okay to take the time, but when you're like, you know what? I had a really really hard day. I just want to go black out. What?
Hmm.
What is that healing?
Hmm. And
And
even
then
not even to that extreme, but I mean I deal with it with clients who are like, "Well, I just want to like go eat the 5 donuts." And it's like, "Okay, there's one it's one thing to have boundaries and have again standards for yourself, but having this like unhinged mentality where it's like, well, fuck it, like the fuck it mentality when it comes to this like healing.
so
So
scary.
whether it's with alcohol, whether it's with food, whether it's even just with vices, like fuck it, I'm just gonna go scroll TikTok for 5 hours, right? Like none of that is truly beneficial to you in the long
Right.
run. So yeah, continue with what you're saying, but it's not only to the extent of blocking out.
No, no, it's anything,
Hmm.
anything. I mean, I've been known to doom scroll. It is like
Hmm.
my favorite thing to do. And 9 times out of 10, like I'll doom scroll for like an hour and I'll look at the clock and I'm like, oh no, like, oh, why did we do that? Okay. So instead of doom scrolling for another hour, why don't we go spend an hour cleaning or go spend an hour working out or go for a walk or do some homework? I try, I've learned that I'm very rigid in my thinking, that everything is very black and white for me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've tried to have a little bit more of a gray area. And so for me, like time blocking things is
Mm-hmm.
really helpful. So if I know that I have to work both jobs and I have, a couple hours on the in between there, does it really make sense to go home and take a nap for an hour to drive back to? No, I'm going to stop at a coffee shop. I'm going to do my homework. I'm going to get that done because I know that that feels good. Now, the next night, if I only work my day job and I'm off at 4, I'll come home, I'll make a meal, and there's absolutely no reason that I can't come home, sit down, and watch TV.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because I know that for myself, that's what works. It works for me to be able to break things up and have a full day of scheduling and then maybe like a half a day of scheduling. And then I can spend the other half catering to whatever self care needs that I need to do to make sure that I'm okay.
And it's like a reward system almost, that you
It
get set
is.
up too. I think so.
Yes.
I think we get internally fucked up. I think our children, the Gen Z children, like, oh my gosh, their reward systems are fucked up. Like, it's like they're screaming, and then you give them the iPad, and you're rewarding the bad behavior. And we do that to
Exactly.
ourselves. We do that to ourselves, where it's like, I had a bad day, so instead of going home and doing the things that I need to do, I'm just going to reward my shitty behavior, my shitty thoughts
But
with.
that goes to the self awareness. You have to be aware that that's what you're doing. Because again, you have to be aware that you are making that choice.
Yep.
You are choosing
The
to go
easy.
back to doing the things, eat the donuts, to doom scroll, to go get blackout drunk, to go do drugs. You're choosing to go do that instead of saying, I'm going to pick my heart today and
Yep.
I'm not going to do those things.
Yep. Or I
Instead,
will do them in moderation as a, probably not the drugs, but in
yeah, no.
moderation after I get XYZ done and hold myself to this higher standard. Then I
Yes.
will have the fucking donut if I want one. But it's like we can't
Absolutely.
have this reverse reward system because it's just fucking you up more. Like you
Yeah.
gotta have the standards, you gotta have the boundaries with yourself. And again, like you said, choose your heart. And that's where a lot of people are choosing the easiest route of like, I am just gonna doom scroll. I am just gonna go for the 5 donuts because it's what feels good to me right here and now. And it's like we have to have this awareness of we need to do the hard, pick the hard, and then reward yourself with the thing.
Hmm. It's like it's like there has to be, like, people need instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
People need like the right now to always be good.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's another big issue. We're chasing whatever feels best all the time. Where, like, in all reality, life doesn't always feel good all the time.
And it shouldn't. It
It
shouldn't. Like straight up
shouldn't.
expect it and almost chase like that's what I tell people is like you have to almost chase the hard and chase the discomfort and chase the uncomfortable feelings and get
Hmm.
fucking used to them. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's how you're
Yes.
going to start opening up doors in life that you never even thought existed.
Like, prime example, when I left the car dealership, I was making good money there. That was literally funding my entire life. Like
Hmm.
this apartment that I just moved into, the car that I just got. But in my gut, it wasn't where I needed to be. It wasn't for me. And like, I could have sat there and been like, Aaliyah, you need to work harder. You need to try harder. You need to push, 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 push. I could have done that. But I sat there and I was like, are you really pushing to the right people though? Are you pushing for the right reason though? I was pushing for the validation that I could handle it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I sat there and I was like, I don't have a fucking thing to prove to these people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a fucking thing to prove to anybody, actually. Because the only person that has to wake up and acknowledge my life every day and experience it is me.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not okay laying my head on the pillow at night with what I've done during the day, what am I doing? And I straight up told them I don't feel accomplished. I don't feel like I'm growing. In fact, I feel like my old habits are coming out more than anything. My need to defend myself and jump down people's throats, that's coming up more. I recognize that. And when they literally looked at me and they were like, Aaliyah, so your insurance, your 401k, your paycheck next month, I said, you guys can toss all of it. Fuck it. And they looked at me and they were like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm not sure of a fucking thing. But I know I'm signing that piece of paper right now.
I just know there's somebody listening to this that needs to hear that. That needs
What?
to hear, like, you don't need to be tied down to something that is
No,
draining you, that is not
no,
adding to your life. And oh my gosh, we live in such a fucking weird society where we
dude.
crave the security and we crave the money and we crave the 401k and the insurance. And it's like it's really not that scary to
No,
to end it and start something new, or
no,
like even being an entrepreneur. I don't have any of that. That's shit that I have to set up myself and go out and purchase myself. And even if that's the route that you pick, like, yeah, it's hard and it's scary, but it's not as hard and scary as you fucking think, and they make it out
no.
to be. Whoever's like in charge of this.
I swear, there's like wizards. Like, I don't know if it's the Illuminati, if it's Beyonce and Jay-Z. Like, I really don't know who's controlling anything anymore. But when I say they're fucking shit up, like,
Yes.
I want to be on like the PTA meeting of society. Like, I'm not even kidding. I don't know what it is. I don't know where we got to go to do that.
We're doing it right here, right now.
Oh, we can just do it on the podcast. Perfect. Bet. I love that because I think there's so many people nowadays, again, that don't want to talk about this stuff. They don't want to be vulnerable and be like, yep, failed at that. Now I'm trying something new. For whatever reason, people see that as like, ooh, but I'm over here like, you're still comfortable at your $20 an hour job and you fucking hate it.
Yeah, or like you,
So
I
like, you're
think.
not making money, you're not living the life you want to, you hate your career, and you're okay with that?
I think so many people have like the sunk cost mentality where it's like, well, I put so many years into this and like learning this new skill. Like, I feel like I need to stay now. Kind of like sales, where it's like, well, I spent so many years and so much time and energy learning the car sales. Like, am I really just gonna give it all up now? But it's like,
Literally chuck it in the fuck it bucket, babe. Kobe.
but it almost gets to be exciting too, like a fresh start and starting over. That doesn't have to automatically mean failure or bad or scary. Like, it can, again, you choose how you view it. It can be exciting, it can be fun, it can
Yeah.
be a positive thing. You just have to convince yourself of it in your own mind.
And like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I wasn't terrified
Yeah.
making that decision. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't get to call mom and dad and be like, hey, my rent's due this month. Would you
Mm-hmm.
mind helping?
Mm-hmm.
Like, thankfully, my grandparents are very, my grandpa, oh my God, that man, I have that man's work ethic. He is literally 75 years old. He still works two jobs and
They're
he still
insane. That
enjoys running.
generation is insane.
He loves it. He loves it. And so I had a conversation with him. And now, again, this also goes back to like problem solving too.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't do it on my own, I know that I have to ask for help. I know that I do. And I'm not uncomfortable to do that. But I'm going to ask for help from people that I admire and that I know are in the same position as me. My grandpa, pretty sure he used to drive like a Zamboni for like the ice arenas in the cities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then he started a job at Sage. And then like, he tried so many different things. He fought in Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just one of the most amazing people. And talking to him, He's the most plain Jane guy you'll ever speak to.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I had told him, I'm like, you know, things are not working out for me at the dealership. I don't know what's going to happen. I had a gut feeling that they were going to fire me. I didn't think they were going to give me the option. And so being that I had that gut feeling, I was like, you know, Papa, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I'm not comfortable. And I know that my skill set can be used better elsewhere. I want to leave this. I don't want to do this anymore. And he goes, leave.
Oh, yes.
He's like, Aaliyah, what are you doing? I talked to my uncle and I'm like, I feel so bad. I don't want to have to ask him to help me. And he's like, Aaliyah, pretty sure the dude had to pay like 30 grand because I crashed my Dodge Neon on Willow Street because I was drunk. And like, to be fair, I haven't come home with a rap sheet or a kid yet. So like, realistically speaking, Aaliyah's chasing the fucking dream, dude. Like, I'm trying to get to where I need to be. So that way, like, yeah, I can come back and help everybody out. But for right now, I have to be in my selfish era because I know that I'm the one that has the characteristics and has the drive to be the fucking trailblazer and get the shit fucking done.
Oh, I love that for you.
And he knows that too. He knows that too. I swear, that man, he's like, he just knows. He just knows me. And so, like, thankfully, I do have their help. But still, it's not like I'm having entire bills paid for. I still had to figure that out. And like, that's fucking terrifying. That's
Mm-hmm.
scary, especially for somebody that has so much anxiety wrapped around finances and things like that. But I'm also not willing to completely break my character over money.
Yeah.
Money has never been something that I've truly cared about. If I live in a fucking cardboard box on the side of the road, but I'm content with life, I can sleep at night, I feel successful, okay. But there's just always this sense of I'm not going to restart because I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what's going to happen. What if I fail? What if you fail? But what if you succeed?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, right now, I took this new job at this marketing agency and they're opening up B2B and they're opening up all of these different opportunities. I met with the guy that runs that division and he was like, you guys are joining at the perfect time. Like, you don't understand the amount of shit that we have coming up for you guys. And had I not taken that leap, I would have never been a part of this. I would have never taken the opportunity. And I wouldn't be in a position where I have people that have talked to me once or twice looking at me like, you're going to fucking kill it. I can already tell, like, you're a go-getter. Like, you're about to, like, eat this business for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And period, babe. I am. Thank you. Thank you.
There's
Look at
so
that.
many opportunities out there. That's the thing, especially nowadays. Like maybe in frickin' 1965 it was different, but in
Yeah.
2024 we have literally opportunities out the wazoo.
You
Like if
can
we
make
don't,
money from TikTok. You can make
yes,
money from Instagram. And I don't know why we're belittling people that do that. Because if you
and
ask me, they've cracked the code.
And even outside of that, like so many companies, there's so many opportunities. Like, don't get stuck in a job, especially your career, your job. It is what, like 70% of our lives. You wake up and you do it Monday through Friday at least, if not
Yep.
even more than that. So it's like fucking enjoy it. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, like there get the fuck out of it.
I literally I go to school at WGU, so it's all online. I have people that are 6'5" in my class.
That's insane. I love
I have
that.
people that are 65 in my classes. And it's so freaking funny to me because when we're all running examples and stuff like that, all of ours are like super millennial, Gen Z kind of stuff, right? And then comes them and they're like, I'm a little bit older than everybody in this class. And all of us, like, we're all like, heck yeah, brother. Like, you're doing what you want to do. If you don't like what you're doing, you are never too old to change it. You are
Yeah.
never too old. You are never too young to
Yeah.
do or change anything. And I think people need to come to the realization that, like, it's all within yourself.
Mm-hmm. How do
It's all
you
within you.
how do you maintain such a positive outlook? Have you always been that way?
Um, when I'm not struggling with my mental health, super fucking positive person. Nothing phases me whatsoever. I'm very go with the flow. If it happens, it happens. But I will say, there are times that like my thinking still gets dark, you know?
Hmm.
Like I think when you get so far into a depression like I did to where you are attempting suicide as many times as possible, literally any way that you can think of. The most morbid, tying a fucking plastic bag over my head. That's
Hmm.
how badly I did not want to be here. When you get that far into your own head and your own thinking, it that doesn't go away.
Hmm.
That doesn't just stop. I still have, moments where I will be in an argument with my mom and I will sit here and I'm like, you know what? Like, nothing fucking changes.
Hmm.
It doesn't fucking change. Like, there's nothing I'm going to be able to say that this woman is going to fucking get and everything's going to magically be better. Like, what the fuck? And I get so upset and I get so irritated.
I
And
feel
then I sit there
that.
and I'm like, but why are you focusing on it? Like, that's literally one interaction that you've had all day. Go find something else to do. Or if I have a negative self thought that comes up, thank you. Not, we don't know her anymore though, so.
Something that's even helped me. I'm reading a book currently. I can't remember the name of it, but she talks about these like coping mechanisms that we have. A lot of times the negative thoughts they can be coping mechanisms to kind of deal with life because it's comfort. Like
Yeah.
I relate to this because I grew up in such a negative minded family, and so that to my brain is what's most comfortable is like I have to fight day in and day out to maintain the positivity to
Oh
make.
yeah. It is literally like going to war.
Yes, literally, like here the fuck we go. Let's strap those fucking boots on. And so she talked about it in a really interesting way where you can acknowledge yourself. Maybe it's a past version of yourself, a childhood version of yourself, or a version of yourself at some earlier point in life,
Yeah.
and you can acknowledge it as like, thank you for protecting me, thank you for
Yes.
trying to comfort me, thank you for like being here for me. But at the
And
same
for
time,
reminding me of how far I've come.
yes, and it's like, but
Like,
at the same time, get the fuck out of here.
yeah, like you don't live here anymore. This
Yes,
is not your
yes.
home. You're excused. I
Yeah.
definitely think that that is a really good way too. I mean, personally, and I told you about how I kind of started doing it too is uh, for me because I have ADD, my brain will cycle through thoughts and it's constant. But if
Did
I
you
write
know that there's like a percentage of people who have no internal dialogue? It's like 30% or something
when
like that.
I heard that, in fact, I think I used to work with a guy that was like, "No, I literally don't like Aaliyah, have you gone to?" I'm like, "No, I've seen a therapist. I'm fine. I don't know why you're trying to make it seem like I'm the weird one right now. I promise you, it's you." Like,
Oh my God, I love
but then
that.
there's that aggression coming out. But I'm like, I know who I am. Like, if I want to have a conversation, and I've been so open about it too. Like at the dealership, I would have 1,000,005 thoughts. So I'd be sitting there and I'm like, uh, mm. And people would be looking at me and I'm like, I'm sorry. There's like 8 people yelling at me right now. Like, I'm trying to get them in line. Just give me a second. Like, but because I cycle through thoughts so much, it's more beneficial for me to write them down. And so I saw this girl had written in pencil all of the lies that she tells herself. And it was in every facet of life. And I will say that as soon as I did this, I was like, oh, we are so mean to ourselves. Like, I would
Mhm.
never say half of these things to anyone that I know.
Mhm.
And anybody that knows me knows that I'm like really not a mean person. Like, I have attitude, but I'm not mean. I'm blunt, but I'm definitely not mean. And I mean, sitting there and telling myself that I'm incapable, that I'm not competent, that I'm not smart, that I'm not beautiful, that I'm selfish in a negative way, that I just looking at all of those things, I was like, none of that's true. None of that is true. In fact, I can think in my head of 1,000,005 people that would completely disagree with what I just wrote down. And so then underneath each lie, I wrote 3 truths in pen. Like, I am smart. I'm in college. Smart people go to college. Like, and smart people don't go to college. But, like, you can't really get into college if you're dumb.
Yeah.
Like, you have to put in effort and you have to try.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. I'm also very intelligent. I'm very good with my words. I articulate. I'm so many other things. And writing those down in pen, eventually, like, I couldn't even pay attention to the pencil. And, like, erasing the pencil after that thought no longer served me felt so good. Because, too, like, I don't think that people understand that the way you view yourself is the way that others view you as well. Because it's what you portray. Like, if you think that you're this insecure, quiet, weirdo, when you get around people, you're gonna be awkward, you're gonna be quiet, and you're gonna feel insecure, and they're gonna read that on you because they're literally watching the thoughts go across your forehead. Like, babe, no, you gotta change that inner thinking as best as you can, and acknowledge the negative thought. Be like, okay, so she visited, unwelcomed, but she visited. We can say hi to her and send her on her way. That's okay. We don't got space for you in here.
I call it the bitch voice. The bitch voice creeps in.
Yeah, like, why does she do that? Just out of left field too, sometimes.
It's insane how we see other people in their beauty and in their capability and in their power, and like we see that, but when it comes to ourselves, we just don't. We fail to, and it's amazing.
Well, I feel like too, it's because a lot of people tend to take others' success as a challenge and as like almost an attack, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dive into that more. I want to know more.
Like, I mean, I can even speak from like personal experience. I had a good friend at the dealership who was a female.
Yep.
And she was so much better at selling cars than I was, like so much better at it. And I remember like getting so frustrated by that. And I sat back and I was like, Aaliyah, why is that frustrating though? Like, that's a good thing that she's fucking killing it. Like, that means that she's putting in effort and she's working hard and it's paying off for her. But then again, I had to do that deep self-reflection, and I'm like, why am I feeling insecure by her success? I'm feeling insecure by her success because I don't feel like I know what I'm doing, because I don't know if I'm asking the right questions. I don't know if I'm following the process as well as I could be. I don't know. I don't know. And because I was so caught up in this, like, I don't know where to go. Like, I'm not exactly sure what my next step is so that I can get to where CJ's at. That's frustrating for me. But like, also too, I can look back and I'm like, Aaliyah, you were being jealous. And that's okay. I wanted to be successful too. But that doesn't mean that I get to tear down her success and say anything negative about her because of my own insecurity on the situation.
I said this in a recent conversation. I think it was last episode, so we'll repeat it. But I see jealousy because I deal with the same thing. Like I again, I think it's almost a learned trait. Like my dad is a very envious, jealous type of person, and I definitely acquired it. But what I have come to realize is it's actually a sign. Like it's a sign that that's where you know internally you're meant to be, right? You wouldn't be jealous of it if it wasn't meant for you. Like you
Yeah.
wouldn't be jealous of it if you knew that you were truly incapable of it. Or it's like,
Right.
okay, I don't want to become an artist, so I'm not going to be jealous of artists, right? I'm jealous
Right.
of the fucking millionaire business owners who are killing it because that's where I want to be. And
That
so
too.
instead
Yeah.
of using it as this thing that like keeps you down, it's actually like your compass. Like whatever you're jealous of, it's like,
Mhm.
okay, how can I learn how to do that?
Yep.
How can I get to the point of that person? How can I get to that level? And
Exactly.
and using it as inspiration rather than something that keeps you held down and back.
That part. Because I also feel like, too, personally, I think to myself, if anybody were to ever see me as a successful person and they were to come to me and they're like, Leah, how do you do what you do? How do I get to be like you? Am I going to sit here and be like, for no, like this is for me and me only? No. Like, personally, I'm going to take that as like that. First of all, thank you. That is the greatest compliment that I could have ever received. This is some of my ideas, and this is kind of what I did. Does any of that resonate with you?
Hmm.
That's how you build community. But that also goes back to that vulnerability piece of like admitting, hey, I don't know how to get where you're at, but I look up to you. I see you as somebody that I could be in 5 years. Like me right now with you. I would love to be able to do podcasts. I think it's amazing. And watching your journey and everything, it's amazing. But like, I don't feel jealous of you. I feel proud of you. I feel like I've been on this journey with you. Like, I've seen your growth. I've like all of the things, and it's beautiful. It's amazing. It's so much fun too, to
Hmm.
be able to watch your vulnerability and how comfortable you are within yourself. That inspires me. That inspires others as well. And so it's almost like this, like, overflowing cup kind of thing where you're able to fill other people's cup by just being yourself and doing what you do.
I feel like that's a piece of it as well, is you're far less likely to be jealous of people who are truly vulnerable. I feel like
Yeah.
I become jealous of people who on social media portray that it's also fucking easy and that it's all
Yes.
just like working. Right? It's
Yeah.
all just working beautifully and I'm like a master at it and I have zero problems. Like I think that's this is like clicking in my mind. But I think that that's where more jealousy tends to kick in because it's like, well, I want it to feel that way. Like, I want it to
Yeah.
feel easy. I want it to feel this way. Versus if those same people, same level of success, were actually vulnerable about the things that are truly fucking going on in life and the struggles
Yep.
that they are having, I probably wouldn't feel as jealous of that or jealous at all because it's like,
Exactly.
okay, I'm seeing the work that you're putting in and I haven't had that struggle yet, right? And then when
Right.
I do, like then it'll get to that next level and that's a whole different lens. So
Yeah.
that is a very interesting thought.
I love that. Because truly, too, it's just everybody wants to put on this facade that everything's great, everything's dandy, everything's perfect. A lot of the times it's not, and that's okay. But like, I think it's more important to share how you get out of those things because
Hmm.
it teaches other people how to get out of it too, rather than
Hmm.
just being like, this is my situation. Like, a lot of my hometown friends would get frustrated, and because I would vent to them about things. Well, because realistically, at the end of the day, that was the only capacity that our friendship had,
Hmm.
was talking back and forth about our problems. It wasn't, hey, Aaliyah, have you tried not fucking drinking tequila? Have you tried staying your ass inside? What if we do a little self-care night? What about that? Like, that's not what it was. It was, let's just listen to Aaliyah bitch and moan, complain, so then we can all go out and we can have fun. And so it's important to have friends that hold you accountable too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll
People don't want
have
to hold each other accountable anymore.
Yeah, and we'll have like tough conversations and like go deeper. That's like my mission on earth is to find people who will go deeper with me and will have meaningful conversations. Because it's one thing to sit and like try to figure it all by yourself, right? Like yeah,
It is.
there's a lot of resources, there's books, there's podcasts, there's YouTube videos, and trust me, I have done my fair share of
Trust me,
it.
girl. Deep dived.
We've journaled. I have about 1,000 fucking journals that are just
Deepak
packed.
Chopra was on repeat, my dog.
So it's one thing, yeah, to do it on your own, but I think it's so much more powerful to have conversations, not only that are bitch fit, fests where you sit and you complain about all your trauma and whatnot, but it's also like having like bringing your minds together, like
Yeah.
even the vulnerability and the jealousy, like that really clicked in my mind, and I don't think I would have never gotten there without having this conversation,
Yeah.
so it's like these types of conversations and finding people who stretch you and finding people who will go deep with you, because it is like anybody that's like life isn't that deep is wrong.
Bruh. Bruh.
It is
I
that
know
deep.
y'all have literally seen that. Okay, first of all, if we're talking about it, the iceberg that took down the Titanic wasn't that deep either. Like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? No, that's not how that fucking works. I love when people are like, it's not that deep. I'm like, you mean you're just that fucking shallow? You
Yes.
can say that, babe. You can say that. That's okay. Like, if you really feel like being that badass, hard
Yes.
exterior, nothing fucking bugs me, I'm too
Yeah.
good for this. If that's the mentality that makes you feel good at the end of the day, hold on to it, but don't bring it around me because I will fucking knock that ego down so fucking far.
It's so
But I
funny
will
because
help you build it back up too. I will help you build it back up. But I
yeah,
will break your fucking ego first
yeah.
because you have to. If you go into everything with so much pride that you can't be hurt, you can't be this, you can't. Oh my god. Like,
It's funny because I can talk shit because that's how I lived my life. I mean, all through high school, early college, that was me. Everything that you just described, I was the hard girl. I never cried. Nothing ever bothered me. I had this like thick ass skin, and it is truly, like you said, your ego, but it's a mask for your insecurities. Like you are just masking everything
boom.
that you're insecure about with this like tough guy mentality, and it's actually not cool.
Mic
And
drop.
it's
Because
not.
the thing is, too, I feel like once you get to a point where like you understand yourself and you are self-aware and you are intuitive, you look at that and it screams insecurity to
Yes.
you.
Yes. I
To
can think of, oh my
where,
God, I can think of so many people in my life.
yeah, and like I always, to me, I'm always like, if you want to be a bad bitch, be a bad bitch.
It's always funny too,
Like,
and
okay.
it's the males that really get me. Like you don't find it a whole lot with females. I think a lot of females are more in tune with their emotions and things,
Yes.
but it's
Yes.
always the males that are like, I'm so
Yeah.
tough, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
you're fucking not. I can tell that you're not.
I'm like, you're literally like, I can see you want to cry right now. Like, I see the tears welling up.
Like,
My thing is,
do you wanna talk about it? Like, I'll talk about it with you.
I say that all the time. Like, I have had, and this is what makes me laugh too. I have had men literally sit in my lap and bawl, like cry, because their employees were mean to them.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I can sit here and like, I understand that you are visibly upset, but like at some point we have to like problem solve too, because this is now like the fifth time that this has happened. And like,
Hmm.
I can't be in control of your emotions while I'm also not in control of mine. So like, what the fuck is going on? Like, excuse me. But then on the other hand, I've also had it where guys are like, the guy that I was seeing earlier this year, where he's like, you can just find anybody. So why don't you just go do that? Boy, because I want you. I want you. You for some reason want me to want somebody else. So
Hmm.
like I don't care to sit here and feed your ego and sit here and try and convince you that I want to be with you. I don't need to do that.
How do you describe an ego to someone who maybe is new to this or doesn't understand or like has no idea what that is?
Think of your ego. The way that I think of my own ego is I think of like little 5 or 6 year old Aaliyah, and when somebody at school was like bullying her, how she would respond. And it was just childish as fuck. Just childish. Like there wasn't very much thought and intention put into anything. I just wanted to hurt that person as much as I felt hurt. And I think your ego is, it's hard. Your ego is like basically everything that encompasses your insecurities.
Should we look up the definition?
Please do. Because I am curious. Because I know there's ego, id, and something else.
A person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance. Let's see if we can get one that's a little
Yeah.
more.
So, like, if you think about it, somebody making you feel less than, typically people's ego comes out, where they feel like they have to defend their success. They have to, whenever you're put into a defensive position where you're really having to be like, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. That's a hard
Yeah.
one. That's hard to describe.
I'm trying to find. Mm, yeah, it just keeps saying a person's sense of self-esteem or self-importance, but it's almost like the way that the spiritual side of things portray it is it's again like this mask. Like it's
Yeah.
not truly who you are down to your core. It's almost like your shield that
Yeah,
protects you. Like it's like a snail. Like the snail is all soft and globby on the inside, and
exactly.
the ego is like the shell trying to protect your true self. And so
Yeah.
it's a mask that a lot of times we put on, like this tough guy act could be, again, your ego, like protecting you. You put the tough guy act on because you're scared of vulnerability. In other cases, again, maybe you're actually a like very flamboyant person, but as a child, maybe you got made fun of for that. And so your shield is being more of a quiet, reserved person because you're scared of letting your true self flourish. So it's like
Oh,
this
yeah.
protection.
Because I mean, even myself, like, I would tell people all the time, like, I'm so sorry, I talk a lot. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm always apologizing for the things that make me me.
Hmm.
Why? First of all, I love that I have a big personality. Like, I think I am so funny. I can sit here and entertain myself for hours. Are you kidding me?
I love
Like,
that.
most people can't do that. That feels like a superpower to me. So, why am I going to be upset about that piece of myself? I think that I eventually got to a point where, like, I stopped letting other people define what my level of self-esteem was and what I found as important skills for a person to have, or like the person that I was. I'm a lover girl at like my core. No matter what I do, I am lovey-dovey towards literally everything and anything. And like that causes me to get my feelings hurt a lot.
Hmm.
I don't particularly care to sit here and be like, that didn't fucking hurt my feelings. You can't fucking hurt me, blah, blah, blah. No. You made me cry, bro. Like, my eyes are burning. Why? Like, I'm not afraid to admit that my feelings are hurt,
Uh-huh.
but that's also because I don't want the behavior to continue. I don't want this to be something that continues to go on. So if I'm not honest about what part of me was truly hurt and why that hurt me, we never get anywhere with people. It's like you just snip, snip, cut them off, and then move on. Why? Like, wait a minute. Like, what if you were both going through a hard time, and instead of being at each other's throats, you're like, hey, I'm really sorry that you got a lot going on. I got a lot going on too. How do we get through it? How do we work through it? What can I do to be assistance to you? What can I do to help you?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll tell you what you can do to help me if we're in that type of a capacity. But like, I just think a lot of the times people want to ignore problems and maybe things that they could fix about themselves, because if they don't know about it and they don't do anything about it, everything just stays the same. And they
And
can make
again,
an excuse for anything they want.
I think that's again because I'm an avoidant type, so I am the ignorer. I'm like just shove it all aside and block it in a closet and just like never fucking open it. That's how I want to deal with things. And it relates back to again your childhood and how you dealt with things as a child, right?
Oh, yeah.
I grew up similar. Like my mom got pregnant with me at 17, had me at 18. My parents split up when I was 2. My dad was not extremely present in my life. He prioritized work a lot of times over me because he owned his own business. My mom was kind of a fucking wild card, like clearly like not emotionally developed as an 18-year-old, and you can't expect her to be. So
And
it's like
that's the thing. You can have grace for people too,
yes,
right? Like, it's
yes,
important to have grace for the people that shaped you,
yes.
because this is their first time around the sun too.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like, yeah, you can, I always say you can't blame people for being the way that they are, but at the same time, they are responsible for how they continue to live their life and whether they actively
Absolutely.
choose to change or not. But anyways, like I was saying, my mother too dated so many men and brought so many men into the house, like one after another. And a lot of times I felt very just insecure and like unloved, unwanted at certain points. And the way that I dealt with that, instead of like putting up a fight and like trying to demand my mom's attention or my dad's attention, I
Yeah.
just like secluded and like hid and like went in my room and went, and was again, I didn't have siblings at the time, so it was
Right.
very just lonely. And so I built up this persona or this identity or this belief that I'm the only person I can rely on. Like at the end of the day, I can't rely on anyone else. And so when
Yeah.
shit goes up in flames, that's me. I go back, I seclude myself and I'm like, it's me, myself, and I. And
Yeah.
it's crazy because it follows you. It follows you through life. So if you can start to like uncover some of it and
Yeah.
uncover like why you are the way that you are. Number one, it gives you peace of mind. It's like, okay, I'm not just doing
Exactly.
this for no reason. Like I'm not just messed up. It's like
Yeah.
there's a reason for it. And then number two, it gives you an avenue to actually heal and develop and like choose, okay, I'm not in that fucking position anymore. Like we
Exactly.
are 25, almost
Exactly.
26 years old. Like we don't need to act like that.
She's like, I'm going to my room.
Literally, that's me. And so yeah, it allows you when you actually investigate, like, why am I the way that I am? It allows you just, again, freedom in your own mind,
Yeah.
and it allows you to progress into the future as well.
Yeah. It's amazing how like interconnected all of it is too. And that was a big thing that like my therapist and I are working on, interconnecting every bit of yourself. So
Hmm.
for me, I know I'm a very deep, deep, deep thinker, and I like to get to the fucking nitty gritty. If you want to sit here and you want to talk about like the weather outside, please, for the love of God, go to a fucking nursing home. I know those people want people to visit. I used to work in one. They will sit and talk to you about the fucking weather and they'll be happy to do it. Okay.
Hmm.
Me, no. If you're not willing to like actually open up, I don't see a point in it. I don't.
Hmm.
Because at the end of the day, I'm also growing, I'm learning, I'm reflecting just from this conversation alone.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's what my goal is. I am the greatest project that I will ever work on.
Hmm.
And ironically enough, I'm the only one that gets to work on it. So, like, what do we got to do? Like, and I hate when people are like, if you always chase the next thing, you're never going to be content. No, I'm very fucking content. I just know I'm not done yet.
Yep.
I just know that this is not where my stopping point is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And going about it from a place of being at peace with where you're currently at, and accepting yourself for who you are, for where you're at, for all of the work that you have put in to get to this point, and
Yeah.
then going about it into the future from this detached place where it's like my
Yes.
worthiness doesn't depend on these achievements, but I can do it
Mhm.
just for the shits and giggles of it. And
Right, because
just to
I'm that
really,
fucking cool. Like, I literally get to do stuff because I want to.
yes,
Like, because
because
I enjoy doing it.
y'all, I want, that's what I tell my clients is like, there shouldn't, the goal shouldn't be to just achieve to achieve. It shouldn't be to get the body just to get the body. It should be to just like bring out your most badass self. When you start to channel that of like, I just want to see how badass I can become,
Yep,
everything else just falls in line. It just does. It's just like wake
exactly.
up and try to be the most badass version of yourself every single day. And I guarantee you the body will come, the money will come, the relationships will come, the friends will come. Anything that you're searching for in life, it will come if you just shift your focus from like I need it and it needs to happen right now to I'm just going to wake up and be the best fucking version of myself and be the most badass that I can possibly be. Period.
Yeah, exactly. And two, if anybody like really struggles with that, I think this goes back to like that instant gratification too, where if people are like, I need to achieve a goal in order to be happy.
Hmm.
Read The Happiness Trap.
What's it called? The happiness track?
Trap with a
Trap.
P.
Okay, love it.
So the book literally it's written by psychologists and things like that, but it goes into depth, and I've found it in a mental institution. So
Okay.
it's real. And I've read it probably 4 or 5 times, even in my adulthood now.
Wow.
And I love the book because it basically states that you get to wake up and choose to be happy every day. It's not going to be that you're going to graduate from college, you're going to buy that car, you're going to buy that house, you're going to get married, you're going to have those kids, you're going to get that degree, you're going to move across the state, you're going to, win this competition, you're going to anything, insert whatever you feel. Once you reach that, you're going to be happy. That's not how that works.
No.
It is an active thing that you have to be doing every single day. You have to wake up and say, I'm not going to sit here and be pissed off that I'm in traffic because this is fucking stupid. I personally get to be like, you know what? This was probably the universe telling me that I needed to slow down, because who's to say there's not an accident that's going to happen 5 miles up the road or something like that? And
Hmm.
what if me being in this traffic is what's keeping me from getting into that?
Hmm.
I don't know. But taking the time to choose a different thought is not something that's easy.
Probably one of the hardest things that you possibly can do is wrangle in your own mind, at least in my experience. Like I have never found anything that's harder than trying to control your own thoughts and control your own mind, because your brain it almost becomes addicted to the
Mm-hmm.
negativity, to the drama, to the shit. And so
Oh,
you
yeah.
it's like an addiction. It's like breaking an addiction to alcohol or drugs. It's like you start to go through withdrawals. Like anytime that it's all fine and dandy when life is going good, but it's the second that shit hits the fan, your mind it instantly
Mm-hmm.
wants to go right back to that negativity, to the comfort of it. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
takes so much work, and I swear it's like what it's way harder than anything physical, in my opinion and in my experience and in my life. Like I'm the type where I will go out, I will run a fucking marathon, I will do any of that over
Which
having
you are a
control.
badass bitch for. You are bad as hell, because I can tell you right now, if I'm running, you, everybody else around me probably should be too, because like something dangerous is coming our way. But besides the point. I just, it is one of those things too. And like, I always kind of get excited for like when shit will hit the fan. Like now I'm at a point where I kind of get excited because I'm like, what's she gonna do this time? Like
Yeah.
my brain is so excited for me to be able to navigate life and figure things out and problem solve now that I'm like, I literally can't fail. Like I just don't know things yet. I just don't know how to
That's a
do
really
things yet.
good perspective. Like look at it like you're building your problem solving skills. Look at it like something that's exciting that you like get to do. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
I can't wait for the next bump in the road because I get to get one more level one notch up in my self-awareness, in my
Yeah.
problem solving, and all of these skills that I think that's what life is for, is like becoming, right? When we say like becoming your best self, living your full potential, that's what we fucking mean. It's not the
Yep.
cars and the house and the this and
No.
the that. It's becoming the most fucking self-aware, the most shit hits the fan and you're able to just like stay calm, cool, and collected and move through it. It's being that rock of a person for
It's
everyone else and for yourself.
yeah, it's literally I honestly think that the biggest lesson in life is just learning how to be.
Hmm.
If you can just be, like if we were to take away every form of stimulation, if we were to take away the houses, the cars, the this, the that, and go back to literally just a bunch of people, like I just think to myself, like, could you in an empty room by yourself sit and just be? No stimulation, no phone, no clock on the wall, just a white wall. Would you be able to sit there and still, in some way, some form, find happiness and content? And that's what I've been trying to work on because, again, I'm known for doom scrolling. I still have things that I am working on. It's never, again, you're never a finished project.
No, especially in our society, it's so easy. It's
Oh,
so easy
yeah.
to doom scroll. It's so easy to get the food. It's so easy to lean into all of the vices and the coping mechanisms. So it's never, nobody's ever fucking perfect. I'm not. Absolutely not. But it's like, but
But the
that's
thing
the
is
point.
I can also come home and sit on my couch and watch traffic
Yeah.
for 2 hours and just let that be. And to some people, they're like, what in the hell is wrong with her? Like, you don't got anything you got to be doing. You don't like TV shows. Like, I don't need the external form of stimulation as much anymore. Like, I genuinely enjoy the human to human interaction that I have. So the moments that you and I have spoken, or, I talk on the phone with a friend or something like that, or being at work, whether it's either job or stopping at coffee shops and just simply watching people cross the street. I'm so content in just knowing that like I'm now the driver of my entire life and that I'm comfortable in that now I get to do these things and go to these places and be a part of these things and not and I'm actually present. I'm there. I'm not worried about 50 other things that I have going on at home. I'm not sitting here thinking to myself like, "Oh my goodness, what am I going to do about this?" Or, did I reach back out to that person? Did I da 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 da, no. No, like the other day I stopped at a coffee shop to do homework and there were these old ladies sitting at a table that were just having breakfast and this kid walked in with this honking camera, right? And it was like an older like VCR kind of camera. So like all of us are looking like what the hell is this guy doing? Cuz he's also like 16, okay? Well, the only open table was next to these older ladies and he got this like apple Danish and one of the grandmas was like, "What do you got there?" Like literally just asked him what he had and he's over here like I think it's like a Danish. Do you want some? Like just offers her some. And the lady's like, well, I don't know. That's got a lot of calories in it. And I clearly don't need the calories. He's like, no, no, take a piece. Like, literally cuts her off a piece, gives it to her, and she tries it. And she's like,
Oh.
oh my God, that's so good. And I'm sitting in the background, and one of their friends that was facing me looks at me, and she's like, oh my God. And she's back there laughing at you. Jesus, Anne. And so then they're all laughing. And like, I got to talking to these older ladies there, and they were like, we can just tell what kind of a human you are. And the world needs more people like you. A
Yeah.
small ass interaction like that of somebody literally being like, what do you got there? And him being like, do you want some? Like, you're fucking eyeballing my food. Like, and then I even, at that point, I was like, you know what? Like, I kind of want to know what this kid's about. Like, like, he seemed really nice to just be giving people his food and shit. So I was like, like, what do you film? Do you like create content? Do you always use that camera or something? And he's like, I literally just got it. He was like, this is like all that I could afford for now. So he's like, I really like taking like skateboarding videos and stuff like that. And so like I film my friends at like the rink or whatever. And I was like, that is so cool. Followed him on Instagram. I've been seeing his posts. They're so cute. They're so cool. But it's like simple things like that. That's what energizes me. That's what makes me feel good. A lot of people want to be like, well, I drive a nice car or I went on this vacation, which like, yeah, vacations are fun, but like I'm on vacation for the humans. Like I want to meet the people, I want to learn the culture.
Yes.
I want to be immersed in the deeper level of things.
Mm-hmm. I so agree. I so agree. I think that's why our society is the most unhappy. Us as a population is the most unhappy that we have been in history. There's legitimate statistics that like 60% of people plus like struggle with anxiety and depression and all of that. And I truly, truly believe it's because we all feel so lonely and separated, and like social media is supposed to be this thing that brings us together. It can be if it's used in
Mm-hmm.
that way, but we're not in a
Right.
place where we're truly using it to its full potential. Like
Exactly.
this is the power of social media, is to have actual connections and
Yes.
relationships and conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've gotten to a point too where, you know, I understand there's people that just can't get to that level. And that's okay. You're just not my kind of human. And that's okay. You
Yep.
probably have people that are willing to be on that surface level with you.
Yep.
And honestly, I have very, very, very few friends. Like, I only told one other person that I was doing this podcast.
Yep.
And it was one of my friends that we get down to the nitty gritty with. And she even told me, she's like, Aaliyah, I'm so excited to listen and so excited because you're the only person that I can get vulnerable with. Like, she's like, I don't have friends that I can literally sit on the phone and cry, like, bawl my eyes out, and you just sit there and you say, it's okay. Like, let it out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
we
I
need.
will just sit. I will just sit because not very many people have capacity for people like that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah,
And that's why
yeah.
people are so sad.
Yeah. Well, let's leave it on a happy note. We're almost
I
two. We're
love
almost two
that.
fucking hours in. And we have 3 minutes left on the timer. So
Oh my God.
in these three
Episode
minutes,
two.
what what do you want to leave the audience with? What piece of advice? What piece of knowledge? What dose of fucking realness do we need? Do we all need to hear from Aaliyah?
Take the time to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself, why do I do the things that I do? Why am I the way that I am? Why do certain things bother me? Get down to that nitty gritty. If you have somebody that you know that you can reach out to that is going to be that supportive hand in you opening up about that, reach out to them. Whether you've talked to them in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever, reach out to that person. Or if you have 5 people in your phone right now that you know are having a hard time, take the time to send them a nice message. Say, I miss you, I love you, and I hope you're doing great. If they're fucking toxic, cut them off, block them. You don't need them. And that's okay. It's okay to say no to people. It is okay to have only capacity for yourself, your goals, and what you want out of life.
Mic fucking drop. Mic
Boom.
drop. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This conversation, it truly, I know it filled my cup, and I'm sure it's fucking pouring into our community's cup. And
I'm so excited. I love this. I'm
yeah,
so excited to see where our friendship goes beyond this, too.
well, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm so happy that I did. Thanks for getting deep.
Woohoo! We're done.
Awesome.
I get stressed out because on this, I just transferred. I used to do Zoom, but I just transferred to this Riverside app, and I have the free version, so it limits you to 2 hours. So
Girly pop.
last week's and this week, I'm like, fuck, we're like right down to the minute.
That's okay. That's okay. I also feel like that's just a sign that, like, you're doing the right thing by opening up this podcast. Like, if you can talk for 2 hours
Easily.
Easily. I did literally, I think I looked
at it on like all day. Like, I can just sense, you can tell what
and I love it. I just love it. Like, Summer, I really truly think that your energy, your movement, your posts, your Instagram, like everything that you've been doing for the last couple of years and going through your entire life, I just want to say that, like, I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to experience that, because you are just fucking amazing. You are awesome. You are fucking killing it. And I am just so grateful to have had this opportunity to meet with you.
Oh my gosh, of course. Well, thank you. And same to you, bitch. Like your freaking life story. And I can't, even just how recent like, you said you're sober 1 year, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. That's insane growth and insane opportunity that has come your way just in that year. Like, imagine freaking 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, where the fuck you'll be. Like, it's
Billboards.
amazing. And I am into the spiritual, religious, everything, and I truly believe that as humans, like, we get connected for an underlying, like, reason. Like,
I truly think so.
More than just surface level, baby. So I know that we found one another. And I don't know what the fuck, like, I don't know. I know you've been following me forever, and I, like, just recently, Ivy said the same thing, because when you tagged us both, she's like, we both were like, wait, whoa, look at it, we're like soul sisters. And
I love it.
like, she was like, is she joining your program? I was like, no, is she joining yours? And then we were like, oh, I was like, no, I'm having her on the podcast. And I was like, bitch, she's been following us since like the start. And she's like, what? I just discovered her. And I'm like, me too. And it must be like, you're more, like, even with your sobriety, you're probably more active. You're probably more out there now. And that has attracted even like our attention.
Yeah. Like, I've gotten to a point where, like, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know how I am. I tend to be blunt. I tend to be aggressive, and it works for some people and it doesn't for others. And, you know, I've just kind of accepted that. Like, I know that I'm going to mesh well with people that are meant to be in my life, because I know that when I am this confident within myself, that's when I'm getting shit done. That's when I'm actively participating in my life, and my life isn't just happening to me. And I think that now that I've gotten, like, such a taste recently for, like, making all of these wild ass choices that I have absolutely no idea what the outcome is going to be, I'm like, dude, the sky's the limit. Let's just keep doing it. I'm like,
yes. And you're going, I mean, you're going to go places regardless of what path you choose. You are a very, very special human being. Like, I want you to know that. Like, for real.
I appreciate you so much.
Like, there's not a lot of people who can go to those depths and be that open and be that vulnerable and, like, think so fucking outside of the box. Like, we when we talk about it, like, I hear about the spiritual woo-woos talking about people coming to, like, consciousness, and I truly believe that that's what we're doing. That's what us having this type of conversation, it's making other people more conscious of
Yeah.
themselves and of their actions. And so I think I don't know how it's all fucking interconnected, but I think that there's something. There's
There's
something there.
something.
We're doing the thing.
And I love it because it's just another one of those things. It's an unknown, but like it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited. I love this so much.
Well, it'll be out. Like I said, I feel like we could probably do another one sometime in the future and like go on and on and on and on.
I love it. I love it.
It'll probably be out. I'll probably release it next Friday. And I'll tag you
Perfect.
in it. Just your regular Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. And just look down 1111.
And then
Yeah.
I have them on still too. Yep.
Love
Period. I
that.
love that. I love that. I feel like that was a sign. Like literally both of our guardian angels were like, yup.
All right, Miss Thing. Well, like I said, it'll be out next week. I'll tag you. And if you want, so I have a little community group chat started. And if you want to
Yes.
join, I would love for you to be a part of that.
I most definitely want to be a part of
Right.
it.
Okay, well, I'll send you the link to that and we will be in touch. I just know it.
Perfect. I thank you so much again, Summer.
Yes, have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.